So Junto Nakatani defends his WBO Super Flyweight title. He drops Argi Cortes 3 times in the fight and ultimately outpoints him to a 12-round unanimous decision. Today in the show, we're going to talk about the performance and see where Junto Nakatani goes from here. This bright superstar from Japan who I am very, very big on right now. If you haven't seen my last video, go check it out. Junto Nakatani is a fighter worth talking about and worth watching. So without wasting too much time, let's get into it. I'm Ringside Joe with Undisputed Fight Media. And yeah, so Junto Nakatani fought earlier this morning. I think the fight took place around like 2 or 3 a.m. Fortunately, I wasn't able to watch it live, but once I had a moment while I was at work, I was able to watch and analyze the fight. And very, very impressive performance by Junto Nakatani. He boxed perfectly almost the whole fight against Argi Cortes. So the biggest difference in this fight was Junto Nakatani was the much longer and taller fighter against Argi Cortes. Yeah, according to this right here in BoxRec, Argi Cortes entered the fight 5'2", 65-inch reach. Junto Nakatani was 5'7" with a 67-inch reach, and let me tell you, he made every single inch of those height and length differences count. Ultimately, the story of the fight was Junto Nakatani was just pumping his jab out there, keeping Argi Cortes at distance, and yeah, landing his left hand almost at will at times. Argi Cortes really had no answers to how to get on the inside with Junto Nakatani. And one thing I noticed throughout the fight was Argi Cortes really wasn't. He was guilty of following Junto Nakatani around a lot, I feel like. You know, the only times we would see Argi Cortes really throw punches was after a Junto Nakatani combination. But, you know, Junto Nakatani, what can we say about him? He really is turning out to be a really special fighter. Like, during the fight, Argi Cortes could not get close to him. He was jabbing him on the outside, lining him up with his left hand, and that was really the story of the fight. I want to say here, we're going to look at when the knockdowns happened in this fight. I believe, it's not really showing us right now, but if memory serves me correctly, the fight was, in the beginning, a little nip and tuck. I think Junto Nakatani was trying to feel what Argi Cortes had for him, was gauging the distance quite well with his jab and all that. And the first 3 rounds of this fight were pretty cagey, but Junto Nakatani was clearly ahead and winning the rounds. The 4th round picked up a little bit more, and Junto Nakatani started picking up the pace, landing his left hand a lot more flushly. Straight left hands, overhand lefts. It was just a beautiful thing to watch. Junto Nakatani's back left hand is a thing of beauty, and when he sets it up properly, it's a very powerful and dynamic punch. And going into the 5th round, Junto Nakatani was doing the normal thing, like I said, outpointing Argi Cortes at distance, moving around, almost like not getting hit at all, and then suddenly, with a minute left in the round, Junto Nakatani sets Argi Cortes up with a beautiful body shot that drops Argi Cortes hard. At this point, it really wasn't looking like Argi Cortes wanted to continue fighting. He spat out his mouthpiece. His corner was trying to delay the time as the ref was encouraging them to put the mouthpiece back in to let the fight continue. And at that moment, Junto Nakatani just went for it. He jumped on Argi Cortes, didn't let him off the hook, landed another good body shot that sat Argi Cortes down. And fortunately for Argi Cortes, he was able to see out the round and make it to the next round in round 6. And to Argi Cortes' credit, in round number 6, he actually landed a couple good shots. Junto Nakatani was guilty a couple times in this fight of lunging in a little bit too forward and also pivoting the wrong way. Now, Junto Nakatani is a southpaw, meaning his right hand is his jab hand and his left hand is his power backhand. Argi Cortes, vice versa. The left hand is his jab hand and the right hand is his straight power punch. And Argi Cortes was just circling the wrong way and was just getting lined up for Argi Cortes' right hands at times, you know? None of these shots I felt like seriously concussed him, but in the 6th round, it definitely got his attention. There was a brief moment where Argi Cortes landed a good right hand against Junto Nakatani against the ropes, and it gave Junto Nakatani something to think about, but ultimately, it didn't deter him too much. The next round came out, Junto Nakatani hopped back on that jab, started pumping it, started landing the left hands all over again, and honestly, that was kind of the tale of the rest of the fight. Argi Cortes just wasn't able to close the distance. He wasn't throwing enough punches, and he was just guilty of waiting too long for Junto Nakatani to throw so he could throw his own punches, you know? it was very interesting to see because I thought at times if Argi Cortes maybe went forward a little more and put that pressure on Junto Nakatani, he could have had more success. But he was getting caught a lot with Junto Nakatani's back left hand. And if you've seen Junto Nakatani versus Andrew Maloney, that his last fight, then boy, I don't blame Argi Cortes for not wanting to get too close and sucked into that left hand. The fight went on. Argi Cortes actually went down again in the fight. I'm trying to remember which round it was. I want to say it was maybe the 10th round. 10th or 9th round. Yeah, same thing. Junto Nakatani caught Argi Cortes. Cortes went down. At this point, I really did think Cortes wanted to quit the fight and not go through with that. I thought the ref may even have jumped in and stopped it. But credit to Argi Cortes. He hung in there. He pushed forward at times. He stayed in the fight. And it was a really, really good fight, you know? Junto Nakatani, I think, learned a lot from this performance. And honestly, the future's only bigger and brighter for this guy. This kid's only 25 years old, and he's a 2-division world champion already. He's barely, I think, come into his prime yet. I think there's still way more of Junto Nakatani we have yet to see. And another thing I really didn't notice about until like after the fight was Argi Cortes has actually fought Juan Francisco Estrada before. I think that was in... No, that wasn't in Estrada's hometown, but he still fought Juan Francisco Estrada, who's arguably the #1 fighter in Junto Nakatani's division. And Cortes did go down in this fight too, but according to the scorecards and my memory off the bat, it was a very, very close fight. Minus the knockdowns, you have Argi Cortes at... One judge only had Estrada winning by 1 point, the other two, 115, 112 by a few points, but... yeah, if memory serves correctly, that fight was actually a little bit nip and tuck and close. And in Junto Nakatani, that was not the case. Junto Nakatani outboxed him, hurt him bad numerous occasions, and was just the bigger, stronger fighter in there. And yeah, Junto Nakatani, 25 years of age, just got his first defense of his world title that he won in his last fight against Andrew Maloney. Again, knockout of the year. If you haven't seen my last video, go check it out and go check out that knockout. It's probably on Top Rank's YouTube channel. Very beautiful punch that Nakatani landed. And what more can I say? The future is bright for this young kid from Japan. Honestly, I think he has all the potential in the world to reach the same heights as Naoya Inoue. Like really, really good fighter. Nakatani, again, 25 years old, so much room to grow. And if he stays with his team that he has now, I think he's only going to get better. If he keeps racking up more defenses, I think this guy is going to become a problem for the contenders in his weight class and potentially the weight class above him. And that's kind of what I want to get to now, is seeing what's next for Junto Nakatani. So I guess we'll check out the Ring Magazine Top 10 Super Flyweights. These are all the 10 best fighters that this magazine is dubbed, or this magazine has designated for this. So looking at the top, you got Juan Francisco Estrada, a former opponent of Argi Cortes, the #1 champion in the division. You have Katsu Ioka, big money fight. I think that would make in Japan if they were to go down that route. But I've heard some whispers that these two are actually linked to a potential fight maybe happening. We'll see if that actually comes to fruition. You have Roman Gonzalez. Now, I think Junto Nakatani versus Roman Gonzalez is a great fight. I still rate Roman Gonzalez as a top tier fighter in this weight class, a top operator, good technical fighter. Obviously not operating at the same level he used to, but Roman Gonzalez is still a very solid fighter for a lot of people in this weight class. And skill-wise, I think he presents a good challenge for Junto Nakatani. I really do. Gonzalez is good at staying in that mid-range, deflecting punches on the arms, landing his own shots. He's got power himself. And yeah, I think if Junto Nakatani is not able to get a unification between Estrada, Ioka, then let's give him a very notable name in the division, Roman Gonzalez. Roman Gonzalez is no stranger to going over to Japan and fighting there. I believe he fought a lot of his mid and early career in Japan, so that fan base is used to him. I think it would be a mega fight in Japan. I really think it would do good numbers, and I think the Japanese people and fans would really get behind it. Who else do you have in here? Now you have the IBF champion, Fernando Martinez. I still have yet to see much of him. I have been meaning to go watch some of his fights, so I'm guilty of that for sure. But if Junto Nakatani maybe isn't able to get a unification with Estrada or Ioka, and Gonzalez isn't available for the fight, then the next best thing I think they should go for is getting a unification with Fernando Martinez. And listen, if Nakatani and Martinez are able to fight, and Estrada and Ioka are able to fight, then hey, whoever comes away from those fights is going to have 2 of the 4 belts in their division. Both of them will have 2 of the 4 belts in their division. And then that will only mean that they're one fight away from gathering all the belts and reaching the highest honor one can reach in boxing, becoming the 4-belt undisputed champion. A very hard task, but one I think Junto Nakatani has all the capability of doing and pulling off, really. Very impressed with Junto Nakatani's performance. I want to see more of this kid fighting. I really hope we can see him again in America. Like I said, I was at that last fight with Andrew Maloney, and he really stole the show for me. Again, Lomachenko and Devin Haney were the main event on that card. Great fight that was, but Junto Nakatani definitely had the performance of the night on that card. And yeah, it seems like the world is this kid's oyster. Really interested to see where he goes and what he does next. So yeah, no. Do you guys want to see more of Junto Nakatani? Did you watch his fight? Were you impressed by his performance? Please let me know in the comment section. Like and subscribe, guys. I really appreciate all of it. And yeah, you guys will catch me on the next one. I'm Ringside Joe with Undisputed Fight Media. And what more can we say? Junto Nakatani, a superstar in the making. Catch you guys later.